118 pounds, he is the great Greg Gagne.
Hey, everybody. Whoa, it's Dominic D'Angelo. It is Straight Talk with the Boss. I'm not the boss. Greg Gagne is not the boss. He's the facilitator. But it's
facilitator.
The boss.
Is that like shit disturber?
Yeah, that is. That's exactly it. That's the polite way to say it.
Yeah, I like that.
I stir up the crap. That's what I do.
Yep. He stirs it up. And then
we got the boss. He settles it down.
But it's good to be here live. We're live on OneTrueSportTV.com and on 4HorsemanNetwork.com. And if you're tuning in live, be sure to stay tuned in live, because after we're done, only an hour away, will be Arn Anderson live. It's a Super Tuesday going down here on 4HorsemanNetwork.com and OneTrueSportTV.com. So you guys got your plate full of legends today. And feel free to ask some questions. We got some good stuff to cover on tap here when we're going to talk about Survivor Series, going to talk about Raw. But first, Magnum happened to be at WrestleCade this past weekend, which is becoming a pretty cool Thanksgiving wrestling tradition. Magnum, talk about your experience there this past weekend. How was it for you?
It's just a good overall great big wrestling family type of vibe, because you got. Now, I was there on Saturday, and I understand Friday was a little different. They had everybody in one room on Friday, and then Saturday they split things up a little bit. And like I was in a room with, I was sitting next to the Godfather and the Steiner brothers and oh goodness, my brain just locked up. The Hardy Boys were in the room. Matt Hardy and Brian Myers were in the room, and it was just like I said, everybody was able to get to people and spend some time with them. So it wasn't like going to like the big event in New York where they've got just the mega lines that people just kind of top the whole room and top everybody's focus. It was where like everybody kind of got to get around to see, their favorites and, people they never got to meet before. And, I think a lot more people are able to make this event geographically just because of where it is. It makes it a little more user-friendly, particularly as WrestleManias are, sprawling all over the continent. And not just everybody's is West Coast friendly and, easy to go to Vegas. So I know you don't need much of an excuse to want to go to Vegas.
Nope.
But it was good. I got to see a lot of good friends and spent some good time with them, and it was great.
That's awesome.
Was Freddie Ric Flair there?
Yep.
Was he? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yep. He said to send you something, but I don't want to show it on camera.
I think I've seen it before.
Oh no.
Everybody else has too.
No, I'm just playing with you. He was good, and Gerald Briscoe was there.
Oh, Jerry, great guy. Jerry's a great guy.
I love Jerry.
Yeah. So, like I said, it was a good time, and it's only an hour and a half away from Charlotte, so easy peasy lemon squeezy trip, and back to the house.
Yeah. Can't beat that. I know. I've only been to one WrestleCade, but I really consider it probably the best kind of wrestling convention that there is, because it is what you're saying. It's like a big communal event they have this, and there's actual wrestling going down there too. They have, oh my gosh, like TNA, I know, had their event this time.
So they shot a show from there Friday night, and and that was cool. Got to talk to Gail Kim a little bit, and the ever young fountain of youth woman that she is. I swear she never changes, never. She's just absolutely nuts, and so anyway, yeah, it was good.
Is there somebody else that you got to connect with that you haven't seen in a while, or?
He had to spend a little time with JJ Dillon, and
Yeah.
his daughter Pam was there with him, and just loved him. I've known JJ since 1981. I think it was when we met. I actually wrestled JJ down in Florida, and he was still wrestling some before he took on the full, Monty and being a full-time manager. So I know JJ's ins and outs and all abouts, better than most. But he looked great. He looked good, and it was good to see him. You just can't ever take it for granted. Every time we all get together, Ricky Morton, all these folks, we think about everybody's just as like the ever ready bunny. But it's a blessing every time you get to see all those guys, particularly in one room, and or a couple of rooms together, and they're still full of energy and still love the business, love the entertainment part of it, love the fans. It was very cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, let's give me your thoughts real quick too, just as JJ Dillon, both as a wrestler, and then what he's done as a manager, and what talents can learn from somebody like JJ Dillon.
The unique thing about JJ was he worked right at the hip with Dusty for all those years, and he kept the books. So every match, every finish, every angle, everything, he had it all logged. So if you can imagine the heyday of what was going on in 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, he had literally encyclopedias of golden things that he was part and parcel of helping facilitate working with Dusty. And, it's part of what enabled him to have a good run up in New York, because he had a brilliant mind. And, one of the best speaking managers that could still work around the ring and was agile and could move and could have that timing like Bobby Heenan and do those things. So, I don't know that the spotlight ever gets really shown on him to the degree of which he truly deserves. But but he truly one of the greats.
Yeah, definitely an all-timer, and it's just the impact that he left with as a member of the Four Horsemen, and what subtleties he came here, did an indie show, KSWA, and managed a talent named Sean Blanchard, and just the little stuff that he would do through on the ringside stuff like that. I'd watch him, and he was just fascinating to kind of do and kind of enhance the match itself, and he just he elevates everybody. So it's pretty neat to see that. That's cool to see JJ that was there and hear that he was there, and Pam's great too. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
You'd be a good little manager.
Hey, thanks.
Kind of an irritating little prick.
Yeah, I could do that. I could definitely do that. I can.
And I saw Hornswoggle, speaking of little.
Yeah. How about that?
And I signed a lot of big rubber guys.
Did you?
Yeah.
I tell you what.
The major pod was right across from me.
Oh.
And they had their sales team there, so they were selling all kinds of merch over there. So people were going over there, buying the figures, and coming over to me to get them signed.
That's the best of both worlds, right there. You can't beat that.
You had some of yours there, you had yours there, didn't you?
I sold one figure the whole time I was there. I probably signed excess of 30. Probably more.
Yeah, they already bought it.
But I only sold one actual figure.
Wow. Wow. How about that?
Got pretty light here all of a sudden.
Your big rubber guy is awesome too, by the way. I think.
And it is, and it's really got me scratching my head just about this whole industry, because that piece is it's so I mean, they did a great job. They could have obviously done a little. The mustache should have not been so dark, and I've got dark eyes instead of blue eyes.
Yeah.
But the overall piece that they captured, they just did a great job, and it's obviously it doesn't articulate and do all these things, but there's a huge following of people, that like this kind of thing. So I'm excited to see what our line of galoobs will bring. I mean, obviously that's an 8-inch figure. The galoobs will be like 4.5 inches tall, much smaller, but still thick and have substance to them. So I'm anxious to kind of see what that world yields for us in the toy making business, because as I'm finding out quickly, we're making the Lamborghinis and Bugattis for really reasonable prices. I mean, they're selling this guy at the event for $75.
Holy shit! Really?
Yeah. So if this is $75, ours should be $200.
Yeah.
For what we have in it.
Yeah.
For the design work and all the things it takes to make something of that caliber. So constant learning curve, evolution. Powertown will be expanding multiple lines in 2025, but you can always learn something by those guys. Matt Cardona and Brian and his team have done a great job. They do.
Ultimate marketers. They're really great. Like it's
where did you get that Sid Vicious doll?
Sid who?
Sid, wasn't that Sid Vicious?
So now you can't. Now not only can you not remember, you can't see. So
it's getting there to that point too.
No, I'm just teasing you.
I'm teasing you too.
Yeah, I know you are. But anyway, yeah, it's but it's funny that Matt Cardona is in the most amazing shape.
Yeah.
And he had on this suit and pants and vest that looked like somebody had to paint it on him. I don't even know how he got in his clothes. but he looks like $1 million. And the guy, I think is he 40 years old now, maybe?
Yeah, he's like my age. I think he's just a touch older than me, maybe a couple months or something. So he's about 39 or 40. Well,
I tell you what, my hat's off to him, because he is in absolutely phenomenal shape. Without a doubt, if the WWE had an angle, had a spot for him, he could step in there and knock one out of the park, because he looks like $1 million.
Yeah, he's the great thing about him too is, like, even when he's hurt, and I know he's been hurt for a few months now. I can't remember what the injury was that happened to him. If he tore
his pec.
That's what it was, tore his pec, and he's still able to promote himself, market himself, go to events, and make himself feel like a talent that's really viable for your independent wrestling product. And
no, he's really done a great job keeping himself relevant with all the things they have avenues to do, and Brian Myers is a sharp cookie too. Don't downplay his role and everything, but they complement each other very well, I think, because they're just they got slightly different approaches to what they do, and of course Brian's still playing a very active role on TNA and that faction with Moose, and it's just cool. I'm glad to see these other genres out there. I was talking with John Layfield and those guys about the other things out there, and everybody's glad that AEW's around, because it's another payday, it's another avenue, it's another interpretation of what it is that we do, but at the same extent, the things we vent on are kind of universal across the board. So it's not just Grumpy Old Men Club. There's a lot of people that would just love to see the continuity and see them be able to figure out how to be the star makers and do the things with guys like Ricochet, who's just needs that sprinkle of Dustyism on him to take him to that that other plane. And there's countless people that have come through that machine that some have just fought to keep themselves in a relevant position and have been able to do it just because of their own sheer star power. but people that needed to be elevated. I'm not sure I could say there's one person, besides maybe MJF, that really got elevated by the rub they got from being part of the organization.
I think it's a very valid point, Magnum. And like, yeah, you're right. Like, it's not just like old men yelling at clouds. It's basically, it is an across the board thing. I've heard even from I won't name any names, but former talent and current talent in AEW to kind of express that kind of frustration, or at least get an indication of that. This like, there's so much that they could be doing a lot better. And it's, Ricochet's an excellent point, because he got there maybe 2 months ago at this juncture. And, you see him on television sometimes and then you don't. And then when he gets positioned, he's already losing. It's just not a good spot. Like he should be a big star for them, and they're not really making the most of his presence under
that comes down to the people running it.
Yeah, it does.
They they picture wrestling as just an object for them. They like it, and let's put it on TV and we'll make some money with it. And they don't know how to take the talent and develop the talent and give them the foundation that they need to be successful. And there's some that come in there that can be immediately, but they're not handled right. And the storylines aren't right. And it's not an easy business. Everybody thinks, these guys just go out there and they do it. Well, we used to do it that way, but your personality has to come out, and you have to have the right person in charge to help you get that personality out or tell you how to do it. And then that person that's running it has to create the atmosphere and the storylines for those people. And you have to listen to them. A lot of them have good storylines. It usually revolves totally around them, but you still listen to it, break it down, and then put it into the formation and put it in the ring.
Right.
And that's what they're lack there.
Yes.
I mean, that's just my thoughts,
No.
Well, and like Warlock, great example. Totally missed opportunity. And as we all know, timing is as important as anything. So if somebody's getting the buzz, somebody's getting the people's interest, they're getting intrigued by his character. If you miss that train, you don't necessarily get a second shot at that.
Nope.
And they took 2, 3, 4 swings with him and foul balled every single one of them. Right. I mean, every one of them. To the point, I literally feel sorry for the guy, because
I feel horrible.
He had more, again, aside from MJF, who I think is, he's a prodigy.
Yes.
Of what he is. He is not the norm on any way, shape, or form. But in that world, when you get those, get those things, get that deal, you got to handle that with kid gloves and massage it, protect it, all the way through the deal. Hangman Adam Page, same kind of thing. Pushed him to the moon, didn't know how to, exactly what he was to be, turned him into a rougher version of himself, but still, that was all over the place. Yeah. So it's a common denominator in all of it, and I'm not going to put it on a person. It's just it's just something in the culture of the way what they think is okay is not sustainable. And again, if they were out there hitting a million viewers every week, I'd sit humbly by and just watch and say, hey, I like parts of it, I don't like parts of it, and I can live with it. But it's not moving the needle.
No,
it's just not.
Did you guys watch Raw last night?
Yes, I did. Yep, I actually watched it this morning.
What did you think?
So I really liked it, Greg. I did.
Did you really?
Yes, I liked the several aspects of it. I took exception maybe with how things kind of started in a way, but overall, the different story points that they hit throughout was really engaging and set themselves up, I think, nicely for what's to come, probably for WrestleMania season. But I knew we just spoke off air. You have a different kind of thought. What did you think?
I thought it was one of their weaker shows.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing with Rollins and Sami Zayn, you know, it was well done with the two of them, but I don't feel that you can get the crowd emotionally into that. You know, I just didn't. You know, they worked great together and they did great interviews, but I don't see that really being a hot item. To, you know, you can put it in WrestleMania, but it'd have to be probably in the middle of the card or lower. I think. You know, and there were some other things that I wasn't real fond of in it, but you know, it might have just been me. I was in a bad mood last night, and so
No,
not you, Greg.
no.
Yeah. Well, I had to go to mediation today. I sat 3 hours of mediation today.
Oh man.
So I had all that on my mind last night. So maybe I wasn't getting a good feeling for the show. But you know, they introduced some new things in it, and the girls' matches, those were really good. But the other ones, I didn't really get caught up in. They didn't get me emotionally caught up into them.
Magnum, did you get to see any of Raw?
Well, you know, I think it kind of. I saw part of it, and I watched part of the pay-per-view over the weekend too. I didn't watch all of it because frankly, I think the formula is kind of needs to be reworked, and the War Games thing, I think, is too long in between. You know, the sessions and you don't have enough. It's just not like you had 8 hot people.
Yeah.
To you know, with cranking feuds that every time you got in there, you got a big pop. It needed to be quicker. It wasn't moving fast enough. You know, I like. You know, you know, again, the thing that struck me that was just weird was the LA Knight, you know, U.S. title match. So I fully expected them to make a shift. I think we talked about it last week. Totally, you know, saw that coming. But I don't think they did anything for either one of them the way they did it. Wasn't that it wasn't solid, but it was just something in the chemistry that didn't. I felt like I was watching him come there knowing he was doing a job. And then to put Nakamura over with just basically a straight win. I mean, yeah, he dropped him on the steel, but just to put him over with a move without something with some steam on it or whatever, it was just like telling the world, okay, well, we're not pushing this guy anymore. We're pushing him, and we're just going to put him over today. And it just was not the thought through thing that I thought all that would be. Just when you look at the last 12 months of LA Knight and look at how strong he was coming on before The Rock came back. And they were buzzing on him, and he was working those people, and they were chanting his name. And I mean, it was like he never really recovered from The Rock coming back.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
You know, he never regained that momentum. And I think I think they absolutely needed to make a change. But if I had done it, I would have done it in something so vicious to make Nakamura like a ninja killer or an assassin. Something just besides just that. I think he's too capable and too good not to have a little more imagination in that finish.
I'm with you. You know, it was over a year ago. I think they teased Nakamura with Great Muta came in for like a little bit. And like, you know, and now Nakamura has that vibe about him with the mist and the dark samurai kind of vibe going on. But I mean, you could have done something to kind of really elevate him to have that kind of ruthlessness and almost like mystic about him, where it's just like, what is up with Nakamura now?
Yeah, make him dangerous, dangerous, and don't
gotta make him a killer.
Yeah.
Just something, and it didn't come off with that vibe. Because you need people. We need people in the mix with Gunther. You just need things going on. I mean, he's held up and stayed solid, and Damian, who's been a solid worker, he's kind of lost his way in the in the mojo of what's going on.
Yeah.
Even though his work's good.
He works. I think they took some steam off of him too.
Yeah. You guys keep talking. I'll be right back. My landlord's here real quick, so I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So if the landlord comes here, I'm in trouble because I'm the landlord.
Mine too. I'm out the door. He comes. I did pay the rent this month though. So I was really confused with it. And do you go online ever? It comes up on my phone, and they got the storylines of the WWE, and they're talking about oh God, who's the Tonga that they're going to maybe turn him.
You talking about Jason Fatu or?
Yeah, Fatu. I'm sorry, it's the big one,
Jacob Fatu. Yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
Well, I can see that. He's got a lot more character to come out than he's shown. So Jacob Fatu is a diamond there just for them to plop in the right place.
But he's such a good heel. Why would you want to turn him?
Well, because to get him away from that group, you would have to turn him. He couldn't stay a heel. He would have to turn on those guys. And just be this character like Mad Dog was,
right.
But in the Samoan flavor of how he could do all that, he could be as big a star as they felt like they could control him through. I think the biggest fear with him was putting the juice to him and all the cold to him, and making sure that he stays in between the lanes.
The great thing about him, yes, I think it's almost like if you get to see the Fatu's personality more so, the fans are just immediately going to want to turn him babyface. And I think WWE's pretty aware of that because, I mean, I worked with him in MLW, and there was a moment where he was like the killer. He was part of this faction called the Contra Unit, but he was like this wild man that couldn't be controlled. And he didn't cut a lot of promos. He had people speaking for him at the time. But then when he left that group, they humanized him and he got to speak. And man, he has that immediate connection with fans because he's so real. And so I think once WWE pulls that trigger, there's no putting him back in that box of like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very exciting once they start making, and they did plant the seeds early on. If you guys remember when the Bloodline won the tag team titles, it was Fatu that won the titles, and then Solo made him give the belt to, I believe, Tonga Loa.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So they're really planting some seeds. It should be very entertaining, but I think he'll be on the bad guys' side for a little bit, at least through WrestleMania season.
Yeah, but I now I see your point though. Yeah, he is like a Mad Dog Vachon.
Yeah,
people eventually respected him because he was so rough and mean, and he never changed his style. Even as the good guy, you just had to make sure you put him with the right people.
Right.
I'm glad I was done with him.
That's it.
Well, what did you think about the New Day?
Yeah, Greg, what did you think about that segment with Big E?
I got about 3/4 of the way through it, and then something came up and I lost it. And when I came back, it was over, and I didn't get to watch the finish of it.
Oh, okay.
But it was very emotional what I saw.
Yes,
with Big E coming in there, boy, he laid the groundwork.
He did. He did.
But they spun it on.
Bring me up to par than what happened at the end of their interview.
Yeah.
But see, I thought they got. I was intrigued by it because I thought they were going to turn on each other. Out there,
right?
That's what I'm seeing, right?
That's what I thought. I thought maybe that's what I missed.
No,
but But Big E came out like boosting them up and everything they'd done and this, that, and the other. And then they both turned on him for, for not coming back after his injury. They said Stone Cold broke his neck. He came back. And, they started rattling off people with neck injuries, and they basically, dished him for abandoning the brotherhood and finding his own lane in a new thing and blah, 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 that he just, like, he's the one that left them. And it was quite a spin. I mean, they gave him time to tell the story.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with all that. And, and I don't know, what, his medical situation is currently. I don't know if he's, ever got cleared, or they just told him, hey, you could have one bad deal and, that could be it. You never know. I mean, he still looks huge. He looks like he's in great shape. I'm sure he's not quite as big as he was when he got dumped on his head, but he still looks good. And,
he did a hell of an interview though, man. It was emotional.
Yeah.
It was good. He could feel it from the heart. That's the best interviews that come from the heart, and that's where he let it go.
And that leaned in perfectly for the other Kofi and Xavier Woods to turn on him, because we all related to Big E. We all wanted the best for Big E and what he was wanting to do for the New Day. He was even, hey, I'm willing to manage you guys like week in, week out. And then it was just such a spin, because the way they've been setting this all up is like, okay, if anybody's going to turn heel, it's going to be Xavier Woods, because they've been butting heads really bad. And Kofi's kind of the moral compass of this all, it seems. But then here, like what Magnum was saying, boom, they like flipped the lid on everything. And now him and Kofi are galvanized, or him and Xavier Woods are galvanized, but Big E is on the outs. And it's setting up something very, very new for New Day. And I like it a lot. I like it a lot. So.
Very new for New Day. Good, man. You're top of your game today, man.
It's the coffee and the cold helping me out right now.
I'm cold. I have no coffee, so.
Oh no! Jeez.
So
but yeah,
help me through this.
Yeah. What else did I want to touch upon with Raw?
How about with the War Games?
Yes.
I didn't get a chance to see it, but I saw some highlights of it.
Yeah.
And the highlights didn't get me very excited. Was it good? So
I think the story in the main event was good, but I don't know about the overall action. But Magnum, you're more familiar with War Games than anybody else. So what's your thoughts about what was all paced out?
It just isn't this. It just is not like, and it's and all the people are over.
Sure.
So, everybody that was in there was a big time Moneyball player, but it just, the War Games was always like a way to settle something, or kind of, and it didn't really settle anything. Though, I mean, they got the fall on the guy they wanted to get the fall on, but it's still, there's just so many things weird in the story, and not having Cody in the mix at all in the show, not having your Universal, world champion out there. It was just a little misguided to me. It didn't check all the boxes, and it's like they almost hot-shotted WrestleMania so stinking hard that they're just struggling to get back on a step of something that is going to be worthy of following it. We're in the countdown.
Yeah.
Think something really needle moving needs to happen in the next 5-6 weeks to get that intrigue going again, like they had last year. And honestly, I don't know what it is. I mean, somebody's got to prove how smart they are to me and creative they are, because it's not something obvious. It's not like we could just obviously go this direction and this will blow their mind. I mean, when you go from pivoting like they had to with Rock and Roman, which was on their wish list and what looked right on paper, to completely turn the world upside down, and the universe made Cody the baby face of all time, and basically said, "Do this, or we're just going to thumb our nose at all of you." You know, I've never seen anything like that, honestly, in the industry.
Yeah.
And something people knows will work, yet they were so emotionally invested in Cody's journey back and his fight back after, working that horrendous match with the pec tear, and just all the things that set that up. Man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a hell of a thing to try to follow for anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they got it's even like great, even if you bring Brock in, or even they got to come up with some twist of something nobody could have thought of. They couldn't imagine that will just blow your mind somehow.
Yeah.
And CM Punk, he did a great interview, and him and Rollins got into that little confrontation.
Yep.
And that one was really good, but I'm not that intrigued to watch that match. I'm still there. They'll have a heck of a match, but they don't have me emotionally into it, and that's when you sell tickets.
Yeah.
Now, I think. Am I wrong, or TA? Did you see their interview?
No. Like I said, they're both rock solid, and both are big money ball players, and they didn't miss a step. But it's just the setup. It's like grabbing a hodgepodge of world class basketball players and throwing them on a team, and expecting all the chemistry to immediately mesh. It just takes time to kind of navigate all that stuff. And so like Drew McIntyre's been out of the mix for a little bit since their deal, and that was like, honestly, that was the last good feud that they've had to me.
Yeah.
And he's going to be coming back in, and how and what and what in the world they do with that. I got no thinking idea, but I mean, you got a guy that good, can talk that well, move that well, do all those things. You got to be stancing him for something. Sheamus has done a great job helping elevate the talent in his role.
Yeah.
That I understand why they did what they did in the match and the things, but Braun Breaker they've got him they had to protect him.
Yeah.
Or they will ruin, what they've invested in him. But that I still go back to my story from last week. That other kid is money.
He is
money. They just got to figure out how to get him. I mean, he may be the guy to him and Gunther may be flipping mega business.
Yeah. People are actually, they put Gunther with Dominic last night.
Yeah, and I thought that was a pretty fun match.
You know what? Dominic showed what he's made of, because he handled that like a 20-year veteran. I mean, it was like watching his dad out there. He was so confident.
He did a great job. Though I wouldn't have been on the other end of those chops. I thought he was going to take Dom's head right off. But Dom fought right back.
No, I tell you what, I got nothing but respect for him, because he is definitely cut out of the right, right kind of cloth, and what he did. I was questioning of him when him and his dad first started that deal. I'm going, man, this kid's riding on a rough road here. This is not going to go well. But he just, he got the steam, he got the heat. He turned heel on his own heels and still got the heat, and went out there with Gunther and proved that, man, he is a world-class player. I mean,
he really is.
I mean,
he's done a great job. The kid has worked hard, and seeing back with him and his dad, I thought, God, this is going to be really tough for Dominic. But he broke away, and he's done his own thing, and he's doing great.
Well, I mean, he's taking some stuff out of Eddie Guerrero's playbook.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I went back here over the holidays and was watching some of Eddie's work and some of the things that I just hadn't seen in so long. And I mean, to be able to talk and have the swagger and have the timing is such an art form. And for, Dominic to have just that whole aura that he's got and be able to pull on all that Latino, stuff is just strong. And, I mean, he helped Liv Morgan. He helped that group. I mean, he's just been, he's been like, we can just move him around and he helps everything.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Did you guys see that? I think it was ESPN wrote a list of the top wrestling stars under 30 years old, and he was number one. They listed him as the number one guy.
Well deserved.
Mm-hmm.
Very well deserved.
Absolutely. And Magnum, you make an excellent point with Eddie. I think like the moments in that match with Gunther, like he low blows Gunther, like kicks him in the groin there, and then does the frog splash. And I'm like, dude, that's such Eddie Guerrero vibes right there. And it's just like you can feel he felt. I don't want to say like him and Gunther on the same level because it's just a physical difference, but it's also like he's such a good heel, and he's gonna be. He's definitely a viable person that they can really rely on.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
So
did a great job.
He could steal the title, and he would steal it. That's the difference. He would steal it and still be just as happy and gloat over it like he'd got the win 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. And that's what back to the Nakamura deal. That's what all that was missing. That was this golden opportunity. And yeah, he's got the everything, but man, I mean, if they get that like when he was doing the angle with Cody, and he was that dark place, and they were showing all he was doing that talking, and they were showing those cartoons or those drawings and all that stuff. It was really dark, twisted, and whatever. And the same characters somehow got to get weaved in to what he's currently doing, and then the in-ring piece has got to support it. So you take it more as more sinister or more dastardly than what that what that ended up being. Because frankly, I mean, and LA Knight can work, and what he's done in the business, the way he's taking care of his body, 40-some years old, looks like he does, moves like he does, it's like almost like somebody just fell out of love with him, and he had to, and now he's going to have to claw his way back to getting some good, decent position to, show his work.
That's kind of what Drew had to do too.
Sure. It's great point, Greg. Yeah.
Drew to me is that's a strong heel. He's got it all going for him. I hope they do something for him or with him that makes sense, because he's good. He is.
Well, from the get-go, it looks like, because he just returned to close out the show of Raw.
Yeah.
Drew, and so it looks like maybe him and Sammy, but I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him.
Yeah, but I can't buy that one.
No, I could see it for like a short-term kind of thing, but it's also like Drew just feels like he's such a star, and like to follow up with the way, the huge feud he had with Punk, to what Magnum was saying, it felt like it was the feud of the year, I would say, undoubtedly. Yeah. And like, so you want a good, really, really, really good follow-up with him, and who do you pair him up with to make that happen is the question. So speaking of questions, we got a few in the chat. Greg, this is an interesting one. I highlighted this one. Mr. Wright 80 says, thoughts on the passing of El DeRusha. Not sure if you guys discussed that. We haven't. Former AWA director, correct?
El joined us, a number of years ago. He worked for WTCN, which was the network care in Minneapolis, the NBC channel, and that's where we had our wrestling on. And El was a salesman.
Right. Sold
time and stuff like that. And pretty soon, one of our directors got sick, and Al slid right into the director's chair and did a phenomenal job. And so he quit, and he joined the AWA. As he then, him and a guy named Roger Kent, who was an announcer early in the AWA, they started promoting more of the small towns around Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Illinois, Iowa. They did all that, and then he directed the TV show. I mean, he was just, and he grew up in the Carnies, and he was the original Carney.
Who was he?
It never left him. You had to be on the alert when he was around too. He was excellent, man. He did a great job and meant a lot to the AWA, and
wow.
It was a tough loss.
Man, yeah. So he passed away in November.
Yep.
So I'm trying to see when he was born exactly. 89th birthday. Wow. So November 8th, 1939, just shy of his 89th birthday. Wow. And to your point, Greg, his post-wrestling career saw Darusha join the Outdoor Amusement Business Association, where he became senior vice president. So he was a Carney man for sure.
Oh, yeah. Every year, even when he was doing the wrestling, when the Carnies were coming to town, he was there.
That's fantastic.
They looked up to him, boy. He was their guy.
How about that? Cool. Let's get a couple other questions in here. Let's see. Oh, yes. Super chat from Instagram Wrestling Historian. Thank you. What are your favorite heel turns? We've been talking about heel turns a lot this episode. Magnum, do you have a particular favorite one? We talked about babyface turns too last week.
Yeah, I guess honestly, it was something that wasn't in the NWA. I really liked when they turned Slaughter against Hogan.
Yeah,
I thought that was really well thought out, and again, Bob is such a talented guy, big guy, moves well. Worked that character like you thought he was the Sarge. But as a heel and turn in like that was genius. Mm-hmm. And for a place that wasn't as serious necessarily as the way we like to approach our product, people wanted to kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, he had heat. Turn on the Americans and got this Iranian flipping madman with you, and it was that was some good stuff. That was some good booking,
right? And now too, at that time, it was just like things escalated with the Gulf War and everything like that. That wasn't on the agenda from the pro wrestling angle, and it heated things up really big time. So yeah. It's a great point. Greg, how about you? Do you have any favorite heel turns, whether that's AWA or across the board in wrestling?
Oh, there were so many great heels that the public turned them. Mm-hmm. And it was fun to watch when that would happen. 1 minute these people want to kill the guy, and the next minute they're in love with him. Yeah. And I go back to Mad Dog Vachon. Mm-hmm. For the AWA. He had so much heat. It was unbelievable. Him and the Crusher battled. And Crusher was, not real good in the ring, but his character was real good in the ring, and he was the character.
Yeah.
And he was from south side of Milwaukee and a beer drinker. And, he was a heel for a long time, and he turned, and the people now, they loved the Crusher. Him and Mad Dog, they had these matches, and they just beat the crap out of each other. It was, when you got in the ring with Mad Dog, you had to be ready because he was something else.
Man, something else in the ring, something else out of the ring.
Oh yeah. Out of the ring. I was in this mediation today. And this lawyer and this judge, they're big wrestling fans. So they started talking about the Mad Dog. Yeah. So I told them the airplane story when he opened the door at 6,000 feet, and they couldn't believe it. The guy was so unpredictable. You never knew what was going to happen when you were around him, in the ring, out of the ring.
Right.
And I know, Jesus, the first time I wrestled him, you know, I said to my dad, well, what do I do with this guy? And he said, hit him twice as hard as he hits you. I said, and good luck.
Godspeed.
Oh, you'd come back, he'd scratch the skin off your back, and he'd hit you with these open hands with like cement blocks. And it was, you know, it was, I earned his respect though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, because I did battle him.
How much did he stress burn out from a worker standpoint? Was there like relationship wise, were they okay? Or how, like, because he wasn't predictable? Mad Dog and Vern.
Oh, yeah, they ended up, but they early in their career, I mean, they just battled each other. You know, it was funny because Mad Dog was on the 1948 Canadian Olympic team.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And Vern was on the 1948 U.S. Olympic team.
What?
So they met, you know, in the Olympics in 1948.
What?
Mad Dog was a different weight class, but yeah, he had wavy blonde hair, nice physique, good looking son of a gun. You know, when you look at him now, the bald head, the teeth were knocked out.
Oh, jeez.
You know, he talked like this. What do you guys want to do? Oh yeah, it was. I guess I told the story about Brunzell and him. Brunzell said to me, "What do I do with Mad Dog?" And I said, "I'll tell you the same thing my dad told me." He said, "What's that?" Hit him twice as hard as he hits you. So they're in Denver, and Mad Dog backed him into the corner, and he hit Jim, and Jim hit him back. And about the third time, Jim hit him right on the chin. And Mad Dog grabbed him by the mouth. He'd rip your, swings him around, fires him out of the ring. Jim hits the floor, and he's laying there with the wind knocked out. And when you say, see the shadow, and Mad Dog jumps off the apron. He came down off the apron onto the floor, both feet in the stomach. Oh, all the wind out of him. Then he picks Jim up. He rolls him into the ring. He gets him in the corner, and he says, "Not that hard."
Oh, wow.
They had exchanged a couple punches. Mad Dog hit him. He hit him back. Finally, he hit him, and he hit him right on the chin. So
My goodness.
Yeah. He wanted a battle, though, and you had to give it to him.
Had to lay it back to him.
You really did, boy. You knew when you got in with him, you better be ready.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Unpredictable. Unpredictable. Wow. Yeah.
You got to love characters like that. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, we're flying home, and he opens the plane door. Did I tell that story? Yeah, you know, at 6,000 feet, he's hanging out. It's so peaceful, I feel like flying tonight.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and the pilot's telling us to grab him. We said, shit, he's going to jump. Let him go. we finally, when we landed the plane, we had to make an emergency landing. They foamed the runway.
Yeah.
They had ambulances, police cars, fire engines there. And the pilot made us get in the crash position. He said, if the wing catches, we're going to flip over.
Whoa.
And they got it foamed out there. Boom. He came down. He put it in. Bang. We turn around, and Mad Dog's in the back. He's got foam all over him, peeling it off of him. Gets off. He walks across the runway now, 2 runways over, where they're releasing the Ozark and United and Delta Airlines are all getting. And he's walking around, and the police said, well, go get him. We said, you go get him. He just opened the door at 6,000 feet. He was going to jump out. So they went out to get him, and they couldn't get the cuffs on him.
Really?
He couldn't get his arms back. And they brought him back to the airplane. And they said, okay, you got 2 choices. You can either get in the plane and take him home, or we're going to lock him up. And then he said, he says, if you cocksuckers put me in the police car, I'm going to kill everybody here. So we had to throw him back in the plane. We strapped him down in the seat behind the pilot, and he had 2 belts on him. And all the way back, I'm going to kill you guys when I get out of here. Well, when the pilot landed, we all bailed and left him there with him.
You left the pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I mean, that was, and she was like that all the time. Unpredictable. A real personality, man.
You would fit right in, I'm sure, the WWE ecosystem right now.
I should have bleeped that what he said, but
all right, it adds some good entertainment. I like it. Feels like I'm on Deadwood now.
TA, did you have any trips like that with Dusty?
No, Dusty didn't ever want to jump out of anything. I mean, we had a lot of legendary trips that on that Falcon 20 jet that we had, and I had a lot of good times, but nothing that was ever death defying. No, I wouldn't have played well with that. That would have. When we all got on the ground, it would have probably been bad all the way around.
Yeah. Magnum would have become the boss then.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't know I was there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We'll close it out.
There's some great personalities in professional wrestling. And I think, when you look at the guys that were such outstanding heels and eventually turned, there was some great talent. And I don't think you can say there was one better than the other. I mean, TA hit it there with Hogan, him going as a heel.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would ever work, but they made it work, and he did a great job doing it.
He did. Amazing job. It really elevated him and brought him
and
back.
He was able to come back and change back again.
Yeah, right. There's so much money in it. So much money in both of it. We'll close it out with this question for Magnum. Italian says, Magnum, do you have any stories of Paul Bearer while he was in Florida, Percy Pringle?
I wasn't ever there with him.
Really?
No. He was not there. I was there for a year and a half, like 1981 to 82 and a half, I think. And then I went to Mid-South, and Percy was not there. So never worked in the same place with him.
How about that? Greg, did you ever work with him or no?
No, never did. Never had the opportunity.
Wow, yeah, he was a pretty smart mind for the business too, and I hear quite.
There was a lot of great minds. Yeah, there was a lot of guys that didn't get the credit for having that kind of mind, but there was some really talented people. 100%.
Hey, you guys are two talented people too, and it's an honor and a pleasure to do this week in and week out with you guys. You guys, fans, if you're tuning in, be sure to keep your eyes peeled for Power Town and some good stuff on the forefront moving forward there. Magna mentioned the Galoob figures, but there's plenty more on tap for 2025 when it comes to Power Town. Magnum, is there anything you want to say regarding anything of that, or just?
No, I'm anxious to get some things that we've already done, landed, and in the hands of the fans, and we've got so many things under development that I'm not going to talk about them before we're ready to release them, but working diligently to really have a big year in 25 with learn from some of our challenges we've had with production and scheduling and all those good things. And Greg didn't tell me I was going to have to become a master toy maker when he called me up on the phone that day, or I might have scratched my head and thought about it just a wee bit more. But then I found myself way deep down in this rabbit hole, and I've got quite an education in it. But it's going to be worthwhile, and it's going to be very exciting, and we're going to continue to do some innovative things with some people that have never been produced before. I'm really anxious to see what the Remco lines look like when they land. And they'll be landing sometime probably in January. So I'm looking forward to seeing them, because what we've done, our Remco line is so far advanced from what Remcos were back in the day. Mm-hmm. We got twice as much or triple the articulation that the original Remcos had, and we've made them so much more realistic in the facial portrayals and the accessories and things that come with them. So again, we're continuing to raise the bar, learn new things, and and try to make job. My friend over there who's in charge of customer and client relations, which is our talent, trying to make his life easier.
There we go.
And fun.
Lots of fun.
Phone's been ringing.
That's it.
But I want to just thank and wish everybody a Merry Christmas. But the people that have hung on in Power Town, it's taken a tremendous effort, more effort than we ever thought. And but the product we're putting out on all lines is going to be the best on the market. So hang in there, trust us. Powertown's going to blow everybody away.
Yeah, the proof is in the pudding too early on.
Yes.
Series
Hey,
1.
one thing, what do you guys do with lighting? I mean, I was real light for a long time. Now I'm getting dark. I feel like
No, you're shrouded in
I'm up in the clouds, like one of God's angels looking down, or the devil looking down on everybody.
I thought your landlord came and was cutting the juice down.
Yeah,
I get nothing anymore.
Greg, this is Greg's heel turn, is him just shrouding himself slowly in darkness. I like it.
Boy.
That guy. Well, guys, if you want to support the show further, go to 1tsport.com and you can get some Greg Gagne merchandise. You can get some Magnum TA merchandise. Stay warm this winter with hoodies, with coffee mugs. Yes, look at that. Magnum TA, the classic logo there, the zip hoodie, and then you can get the mug too, the Boss of Chesapeake. And look at that. You can get Greg Gagne Heart of a Champion mug and the zip hoodie in 2 different styles with the Pegasus on the back that Greg used to wear to the ring. So go scan those QR codes or go to 1tsport.com and check out all the collections we have on there. But be sure to give a look at all the different merchandise we have, both for Greg and Magnum. And be sure to subscribe, whether you're on the 4horsemanetwork.com or if you're on OneTrueSportTV.com. Put Greg's lights back on, please, when you can.
I can't reach him, and Laura's not here.
So his hands are tied. But, hey, be sure to tune in next week. We'll do another rendition of this show, Straight Talk with the Boss. Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Magnum. You can follow Greg on Instagram at Gagne.Greg. You can follow Magnum on Instagram, boom, at Magnum_TA. And you can follow me on X at Dominic D'Angelo. So be sure to take a look.
Dom, you're all over Instagram.
All over Instagram. That's it. Gym pictures and cat pictures. That's all it's chock full of. That's it. But, hey, guys, we'll see you next week here on Straight Talk with the Boss. Magnum TA and Greg Gagne.
I get some better lighting.
Keep it the way it is. I like it.